Hey guys, today we are going to learn how to classify triangles by sides and by angles. So by angles, if you have three acute angles, then you have an acute triangle. And if you have one obtuse angle, you have an obtuse triangle. If you have one right angle, you have a right triangle. And if you have three congruent angles, you have what is called an equiangular triangle. And that means all angles are 60 degrees. So looking at the diagram here, triangle CDE. So triangle CDE, I hope we can all tell, is a right triangle. Because it has one right angle. All right, let's take a look at BCE. Triangle BCE appears that angle C is an obtuse angle. So this is an obtuse triangle. Triangle ABE. Notice those three kind of little, these things here. They're not tick marks, but they're little angle marks. So that lets you know that all three angles are the same. So if all three angles are the same, this is an equiangular triangle. BDE. BDE is very clearly an obtuse triangle. And the last one here is CFE. And CFE appears to be an acute triangle. All three angles are less than 90 degrees. You can also classify triangles by sides. If you have three congruent sides, this is called an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangles are also equiangular. Two congruent sides is an isosceles triangle. And no congruent sides is called a scalene triangle. All right, let's look at JKM. So that's the big triangle that we see there. We don't have any indication that we have any congruent sides. So this is a scalene triangle. All right, KLN. So you have one tick mark on the bottom, two tick marks on each side. That is an isosceles triangle. And then the last one that we are going to look at is JKN. And as you can see, for each of those, we have the one tick mark, which indicates that you have an equilateral triangle. Now, here at the bottom, we're going to classify these triangles by sides and angles. So we're going to do 9 and 12 together. All right, number 9 has a right angle and two congruent sides. So this is a right isosceles triangle. And number 12, as you can see, has three different sides. It appears to have three acute angles. So this is acute scalene. We will look at 10, 11, and 13 and 14 in class. We will also be looking at 15 through 20 in class. This is where we are going to classify by angles and sides according to some information given to us in our directions. When we classify triangles in the coordinate plane, we're going to find the measures of each side and then classify by its side. So we're going to need to find a JK KL, and JL. And to do that, we need to use the distance formula. Square root of x of 2 minus x of 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. And remember that distance is always positive. So JK is the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Remember, two negatives make a positive. All we need here is the square root symbol and the radicand. So this is negative 2 squared, which is 4. 1 plus 7 squared, 8 squared is 64 to get a square root of 68. KL, square root, negative 1 plus 9 squared plus negative 1 minus 1 squared. Again, we need that radicand. 8 squared plus negative 2 squared is also the square root of 68. So we know right now this is not a scaling triangle because we have two congruent sides. JL will let us know if it's equilateral, 3 congruent sides, or isosceles, 2 congruent sides. Negative 1 plus 7 squared plus negative 1 plus 7 squared. 6 squared plus 6 squared is the square root of 72. So this is isosceles. All right, we're going to work 22 next. And if you would like to, you can pause your screen, work it, and then come back and see if you got your answer correct. So again, we're doing JK, KL, and JL. So this is 2 plus 3 squared plus 6 minus 2 squared for a total of the square root of 41. Again, you can check this in your calculator. So 8 minus 2 squared plus negative 1 minus 6 squared is the square root of 85. So already we know it's not isosceles, not equilateral. Chances, well, excuse me, we know it's not equilateral because depending on what this next one is, it could be scaling or it could be isosceles. So this is 8 plus 3 squared plus negative 1 minus 2 squared, which is the square root of 130. All three are different, so this is scaling. We're now going to look at some algebra. If you want to make a note, we're going to do 1 and 4 on this page. If ABC is an equilateral triangle, then that means all sides are the same. So I am going to say that 3x plus 1 is 49 and 18y minus 41 is 49. So 3x plus 1 is 49. Subtract 1 and divide by 3. X is 16. 18y minus 41 is equal to 49. Add 41 and divide by 18, and y is 5. Number 4, DEF is isosceles with DE congruent to EF. So 8x minus 13 is equal to 5x plus 17. 3x is 30, so x is equal to 10. Then find the measure of each side. So this is 80 minus 13. This is 67, which means EF is also 67. And then x plus 21 would be 31. Taking a look over here, we don't have any diagrams, but we are going to draw them. We're going to do 6 and 8 on this page. So if PQR is isosceles, that means all three sides are the same. PQ is 18x plus 1. QR is 24x minus 17. And PR is 15x plus 10. Find x in the measure of each side. So pick any two sides and set them equal to each other. 3x is 9, so x is 3. Plugging 3 in. I'm going to do it at the bottom. 15 times 3 is 45. 45 plus 10 is 55. They all have a measure of 55. MKL for isosceles triangle here. So M, K, and actually I'm going to change that because we'll put the M at the top because of my congruent statement. That will make things a little bit simpler. MK and ML are congruent. So MK is 7x minus 15, KL is 4x minus 5, ML is 10x minus 42. So 7x minus 15 equals 10x minus 45. So 30 is 3x. And x is equal to 10. Double check and make sure I did that one right. 7x minus 15. There should be a 42, not a 45. I'm just going to throw things off just a little bit and make sure that is done right. Minus 42. So 3x equals 27 and x is equal to 9. So we have Km, ML, and KL. And when we plug 9 in for each of those, we'll see KL is 31. 90 minus 42, that would be 48 and 48. And X is also part of your answer. So we will complete these problems in class. Don't forget your questions box, and I hope you guys have a great afternoon.